this topic, I'm going to talk about competitor analysis. Now, competitor analysis isn't so much a usability evaluation technique, but it's still a type of evaluation. So it's a useful technique to use to support your organization or your client in terms of understanding how they could improve their website. Let's look at an example. You might be working for an organization that sells shoes online, or you might be reviewing a couple of online shoe stores. Let's look at a scope of a competitor analysis. Let's say you start with an online sports shoe store, and maybe you review 2 or 3. But you might want to sort of expand on that and perhaps look at a slightly different area of sort of the online shoe market. For example, maybe female shoes or formal wear. You might even expand further out. You might want to see what the fashion industry is doing. So, selling clothes online and what sort of features and functionality that they have. Right. But you might also want to consider going outside to a different retail group altogether. For example, electronics. The whole idea behind doing a competitor analysis isn't necessarily just to see what your competitors are doing, but also seeing what similar industries are doing, or what the other retail groups are doing, what features and functionalities they have. The whole idea is to pick the best from each website to help build a strategy to improve your website. Remember, this shouldn't be your only usability evaluation. It should work in conjunction with other testing that you might have done to get a better understanding as to the problems your website has, and also where your stakeholders or the organization wants to actually take the website. Now, I've done a competitor analysis a number of times. The first approach I take is actually talk to the stakeholders and confirm I understand the goals and objectives for their exercise. But then sometimes I take 2 different approaches. Let's talk about them. One approach might be, and let's imagine you have 3 websites that you're going to review. The approach you might take is review the entire site first, based on the objectives and the goals of the stakeholder. Then move to the second website and do a complete review of that. And once you finish with that, do a complete review of the third website. However, you might want to take another approach. The other approach might be specifically about features and functionality. So again, let's imagine you've got 3 websites. But this time, you might want to first concentrate on one feature, let's call it the search, and then review that search for all 3 websites. Then you might want to move to another feature. Let's say, a contact list. Again, review that across the 3 websites, and then move on to the third feature. There is no wrong or right approach. It basically depends on the goals and objectives of your stakeholder. They might be looking to review the entire site, or they might want you to give them some features and functionality requirements. So therefore, this approach would work best for you. Reporting on the results could be just as important as actually conducting the review. Let's talk about why. A lot of clients often engage you to do this sort of work because they want to take the, information back to the upper management and put a business case together. So often they look for something that they call benchmarking, meaning they would like some data to go with the findings. That could be things like, the severity of the issues that you raise against each website, being the competitor's website. Perhaps some sort of scaling as to where your stakeholder or your organization's website is in comparison to the rest. Often stakeholders want to see, for example, this website fared the best, this came second, this came third, or the fact that for this website, this feature failed, this feature worked well, and this feature has some issues. So it's really important to talk to your stakeholder to ensure you understand who the target audience is for your report, and also confirm the types of things you want to include in the report. Things to look out for when conducting a competitor analysis include ensuring you understand the brief for the project. Agree the approach if you're going to look at specifically one area or look at the entire website and the competitors. And understand how you have to report. We'll talk about this in the next topic, but be sure you fully understand the sort of things you need to put into your documentation. I've had many instances when I've spent a lot of time documenting the findings to only find out that's not what the client actually wanted. In the next topic, I cover in detail exactly how you go about documenting your findings from all the different techniques that we've talked about in the previous topics.